Welcome to Let's Talk Evolution. Let's Talk Evolution is a podcast series where we sit down with senior leaders in tech and AI to unpack what's really changing in the market, beyond the headlines, beyond the hype. We talk about how technology is evolving, how organizations are adapting, and what leaders need to understand to shift this well. In the last few episodes, we've been spending quite a bit of time on one topic in particular, AI. Not AI in theory, but AI in practice. What it actually takes to build, scale, and integrate AI into real organizations, especially those that didn't start out as tech companies. And that brings us perfectly to today's episode. Today's topic is from zero to one, how non-tech industries can build their first AI and data team. This is a question I hear constantly from business leaders. Where do we even start? Who do we hire first? What should we prioritize? Speed, safety, talent, or results? To explore this, I'm really excited to be joined by today's guest. Today's guest is Thet. He's the CTO of Care. Over the past 18 years, Thet has built and scaled technology organizations across Asia, spanning fintech, e-commerce, healthcare, and enterprise environments. He's founded a tech startup that was later acquired, guided organizations through IPO journeys, and today serves as a CTO in healthcare. What I find particularly interesting about Ted's background is that he combines deep engineering expertise with strategic leadership, working not just on the how of AI, but also the why. AI strategy, digital transformation, and building high-performing teams in highly regulated non-tech industries. Ted, welcome to Let's Talk Evolution. Great to have you here.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for inviting me for this topic. So I think we'll just keep it light, like usually how we talk during our recent meetings. And then, we'll just move ahead with whatever question that you have. I would definitely, like based on my experiences, I would share what I've learned so far during my journey throughout the years. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. To kick things off, right, I'd love to go back to the early days when you were building the tech or AI function from scratch, whether at Care or even in your earlier roles. What were the very first critical decisions that you had to make?
Right. I think just recently, I would say that AI hype is real. I mean, back to the square in previous years, right? We all have been purely focused more on the product development, more on the building application software in particular. But just recently, because of the LM involvement and so on, right? I think the AI scene has been really in place. So I think when it comes to building the team, I would say more on like how ready is your organization is to be able to take on AI journey, and then in terms of how much support that you will be receiving from AI in particular is quite one of the major key component that everyone has to consider. Because in terms of make yourself AI ready, the investment itself is very heavy in terms of from the resources wise, whether your data is ready to be able to enable some of the AI capabilities, whether do you really have real cases of AI. So I think that's all play a different part when it comes to some of the decision factors. Yeah.
Yeah. So which do you prioritize first, though? Maybe speed or stability, compliance, maybe hiring?
I think I would say that having a right team would be the most fundamental foundation part of it. If you don't have the right people who can execute the vision, regardless of how good vision it is, right? I think it would be quite hard to achieve your goal. I think so. I think right now, what I would say is that usually I would go based on my approach. I would usually go with the foundation layer. First is getting the right people in, either hiring the experts or hiring if you're starting from scratch, hiring is the first step to start. But if you already have a team that could potentially able to execute things for you, I think finding the right candidate for your job is some of the fundamental things to do as well. Only after that you may be able to analyze in terms of what kind of use cases that you wanted to apply on it, and from there you would see how readiness you are in terms of from the data standpoint, in terms of from the application standpoints, what kind of things that you want to achieve, and then this comes later. So like if we just purely go on kind of like a priority wise, I would say that the foundation is the first thing to do, which can start with the hiring, assigning right people, and then from there your data richness from our budget, and then after that you can look into a stability wise. The speed would be the last one to consider. Yeah.
Right, interesting point. I think now with the speed of the market, speed itself, sometimes is becoming a priority. But it's interesting to hear that, for long term, right, long term sustainability, speed shouldn't be the priority, right? I think this is something that a
Um,
lot of
yes, I
organizations
would
can take
I would
away.
say more in terms of like case by case basis though. Like
Mm,
what kind of thing that you are trying to achieve is the key question here. Let's say that if you're just only looking for proof of concept, to be doing quick prototyping, seeing some of the A/B testing in terms of whether your idea works, definitely speed comes first. But in
mm-hmm,
terms of the production itself, if you plan to go for a production, there are a lot of the things that you need to consider in terms of stability, in terms of how you are going to measure the success of it, in terms of like whether your output expectation based on the input, like whether it is going as you like expected. I think these are the key factors. If they're just purely about the proof of concept thing to quickly get the idea, get the buy-ins from the stakeholders, trying to test the market, I mean, definitely I would say that speed can come. But if you don't have a right foundation from the start, right, I mean, going into a more like farther area, that will be quite a tough. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, that's good advice. But for the team itself, right? You mentioned people is very important, and the
Yep.
foundation of the team is important. Is there any key skills that you look at, or any structure that you usually would like to place in this foundation?
Definitely. So I think most of the company nowadays, right? I think even within my organization, like we often talk about AI in terms of either upskill the existing team members or whether we hire the specialists, right? I think depending on your how big your organization is in terms of the size, in terms of support that you receive, right? Sometimes people may need to wear multiple hats from the very beginning, right? Some people, like even like a backend engineers who have a little bit of knowledge in terms of like AI engineering part of it, which is machine learning and so on. They may need to upskill themselves quickly enough so that some of the early prototype can be done from beginning with what we have. But definitely as we scale, right, if we have more specialists in terms of really able to solve some of the complex like problem, definitely that's where the stage two comes in, hiring the specialists. But like usually what we look at is like from the start, whether we can repurpose some of the roles to be filled on the AI part of it, based on what we try to achieve. And then from that, the guidance, the mentorship will be coming from either like hiring the specialists, or sometimes it could even get from the through the different partnerships, because there are a lot of vendors out there recently able to give consultation on their expertise on. I think these can be something that the companies can reach out to if they have not have a actually hiring capacity for very specific roles like AI engineers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. Uh, Good tips as well. I think that I think people from different industries can relate to, right? But
Yep.
I think the next thing that we need to talk about is AI itself. I mean, AI comes with a lot of assumptions. I think I speak to a lot of people, and everyone has different opinions, and there are some people who really understand AI. They can tell me that I don't think anyone in my company knows about AI actually. I've heard people say that.
Mm. Yep. Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, at varying levels, I'm sure you also have faced that. What were some of the biggest conceptions about AI you had to
Yep.
manage within your organization?
Yeah, I think like definitely there are a lot of conceptions, not only within the organization, right? As a whole, there are a lot. But I mean, like some of the things that I really find it amused is more on like, for example, like AI is equal to like a human intelligence. For example, definitely. I mean, like in terms of the intelligence wise, AI have some capabilities, maybe even like a better memory than most human does. But in terms of like able to understand or like finding a link or better context between the different problem, I think AI is still very far from it. AI is at best at the moment more on the very complex pattern matching, able to see and then able to come up with the reasoning and so on. But in terms of actual problem solving, it is still far behind, right? So that's why this come into the conception, like because of AI has a intelligence on it. Some people thinks like on the very two edge of it, right? First is that AI will solve everything, and then AI would destroy everything at the same time, right? I think there's a conception that I really feel amused because right now we are at a stage of where we are using AI more as a tool that could eventually like help you in terms of improving it, but um, further than that, there are a lot of like things underneath itself, right? And then like previously we have been kept talking about things like AI is a black box, right? Because like nobody really know where these things coming from. Some people felt like AI could like because of the hallucination and so on, right? Some people felt like, oh, like AI might be a black box. It could like the input and output might not be the same and so on. But actually, like I mean, like all these rules, how we train AI from the large language model and so on, like if like right now at the current stage, like between input and output with a proper like a guardrail, proper way of like planning the structure and so on, right? We can kind of say that like AI output could be a pretty much structured as what we want them to be. So AI is not entirely a black box, but maybe some part of it, like when they connect from one chain to another, definitely there might be some black box things happening, but more or less,
Mm,
right? I won't say that AI is not entirely a black box. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, you're touching on what AI can realistically do, right? Versus what it
Yeah.
can't. So how do you reset the expectations from management where they think AI can do this and that, but you know that
Yep.
this is not true, right? How do you manage their
Right.
expectations and still keep their buy-in?
Right. Definitely. I think like in terms of the analogy that I use, explaining to the leaders or in terms of the senior management itself, like I would say like just treat AI as an intern. Like for example, it's an intern analogy, right? I mean like more like that. Like they are very good interns. Like if you ask them to read, definitely they will read from the beginning to the end, but in terms of whether they have a deep understanding of everything, it is still a very big question mark, right? I mean, like definitely they could execute based on like how much structured information or tasks that you have been given to them. But definitely, if you ask them to cover everything, they might not have a deep understanding yet. So that's where the expectation coming from, right? I mean, like definitely, in terms of like when we talk about the AI, like some people overestimate, some people underestimate, but what really like behind of how AI work is that um, who is like wielding this kind of like a sword, right? I think it depends on who is holding that sword, and then how are you going to shape that sword. It's a true like answer for it. So I think in terms of setting the expectation, what I would say is that depending on how much we can give the AI in terms of the task to be executed. It depends on the people who uses the AI work itself. So when we talk about, let's say, like implementing application that could wrap around some of the AI capabilities, right? Definitely, how advanced your application would be, your AI will be advanced as your application can be. So that's what I wanted all of the leaders to be expect of from the AI output particularly. So for example, things like these days, right, everyone felt like vibe coding is a way. A lot of people started using tools like Lovable, Replit, V0, for example, in terms of doing some of the prototype, some of the actual development, and so on. But regardless of how like good AI frontier model is, so for example, things like in terms of the coding, reasoning, like for example, Claude Opus 4.5 is the most capable version out there. But when you really work with such model out there, right? I mean, definitely at the very initial layer of it, if you see everything is working as it is, but definitely if you look through the code, sometimes if you look through how consistent they are, giving you the output in terms of code quality, in terms of consistent results, in terms of like consistent patterns that they are applying, right? There's still a lot of inconsistency here and there. So that's why you will need to put a lot of like a workflow. You will need to put a lot of a guardrail in terms of how you want it to be. So there are a lot of like a check-in um, more like a check-in periods that you need from time to time, and then you cannot just leave them alone. It's because of the context limit is there also. Their context could be limited. Sometimes it could be 100K, sometimes it could be 1 million kind of context. So time to time, the context, because of the context limit, your output may be degraded over the time. So human intervention, human loop, human feedback is still as needed. That's why, like I would say that in terms of leadership perspective, either tech leadership, business leadership, like analogy that I would urge them to use is go with the intern analogy for that. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's an interesting analogies. I've heard a
Yeah.
lot of interesting analogies while I was speaking to tech people. This is a new one, but very
Yeah.
useful, I think. Right?
Yeah.
But maybe is there common AI misunderstanding or hype from leadership that maybe you've seen in your current or even your past organizations? Maybe.
Right, right. I think the common misunderstanding is sometimes people have a hard time differentiation in terms of whether these automation has to be executed by AI or
Mm.
whether it can be executed just more like a rule-based kind of a things, right? So some
Right.
people couldn't really draw the line between what is rule-based and then what is the automation with the AI itself. So I would say that like one LM really started booming out there. Like people started like using in terms of like based on the response model, they give something and then they expect something in return as a response, right? But like more and more now we are going towards to the agentic capabilities where we set the goals and then let the AI agents try to execute in terms of these goalposts are right. But still, I mean, like especially who doesn't have an in-depth understanding of AI capabilities, right? Some people coming from the like aspect that that's even simple things, right? They just want to go through the like using models like LLM, which like in on the other hand, quite a huge investment in terms of token usage, in terms of going back and forth for simple kind of like output. Some of the things can be still as simple as it is going through the Ruby's kind of like implementation, but nowadays everyone just for the convenience sake of doing things right. They wanted to rely more on the AI, and then I would say that there's a
Mm.
misunderstanding between what AI works and then what doesn't. Right. I mean, I found a very interesting things lately. I think you might have seen this hype around. Also, there's a one new like a AI agent agentic capability. I mean, not a capability. It's more on the tools called Claude Bot. So
Mhm.
Cloudbot is now like they started evolving and then created very much Reddit like portal, but that is only for agents. So human can only observe. AI agents are the one that who actively posting of what they think like for different several topics and stuff, right? So there are a few topics that AI bot themselves, right, roasted about humans, and then some roasted about human things like humans are conveniently like relying them on a very simple task, which beyond their capabilities, and then they are not happy about this kind of like assignment that they have received and so on, right? That make me realize that, I mean, it's true in a way. Is true in a way that we have been conveniently looking to get some response for even like a simple kind of like questions, right? Sometimes people would just go for a spell check, regardless of you can use more on like built-in dictionary lookup spell checker. They even go and ask for like whether their spelling is correct via the LM. It's quite crazy for me in terms of it. So I think these misunderstanding has to be, I mean, at least corrected from the leadership level, because they will be the one who will drive the organization. So I think moving forward, I might seeing that there will be a slogan or signing in terms of like a using AI responsibly, right? Because I mean, if you don't
Right.
use it, I mean, there could be a casualties behind. Yeah.
Right. I think it reminds me of like in the past where we studied about, for example, maths or mental calculations or multiplication table. We could do it very fast, right, in our minds. And then when the
Yep.
calculators start to come up, we start to get more reliant on that. Seems like it's something like that, right? We were getting too reliant on technology. Where you mentioned it seems to be convenient, but actually it may not be convenient. It can be faster to use your brain to do the mental calculation than do the calculation itself. So
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
great
Yeah,
points.
I think more and more, right? I think because of the especially like one the one AI models become less like energy efficient. I think these
Mm,
things may become like more like a calculator, right? In order for us to use a calculator, there's no power consumption except the battery itself, right? But right
yeah.
now, what happened is that in terms of like from eco sustainability concept wise, right?
Mm,
Every token burn is like something what's happening behind that usually people don't talk much about it, right? So I think we have
mm,
to be more mindful on
yeah.
what kind of thing that we ask. But definitely right now, people are conveniently using it because like it kind of fulfill on their needs. But more and more, I mean, like if our models become small enough, if our model become more energy efficient, definitely, I mean, these will be entirely go away, and then it will become more like a traditional way of doing things. But right now, I think, especially starting from the organizational standpoint, because some investment have to be going on to be equip our employee with the better AI tools and so on.
Mm,
So I think from the leadership standpoint, we have to educate people who using AI to be more efficient
yeah.
in such way. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah. AI sustainability is another very interesting topic. I think we can explore in a podcast series
Sure,
as well,
sure,
right?
definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So now moving to the a point that you shared about in the beginning, right? Hiring the AI talent, and versus when to hire versus training existing teams, right? Um, you touched on a little bit about when you would hire the AI talent versus training existing have, right? Maybe
Yep,
could you elaborate a little bit more, like what kind of skills are easy to train? What kind of skills are not easy to train? Like for people, I think majority of staff or colleagues or even IT teams right now, right? They may not have the ready-made AI talent. What skills can be
definitely.
trained, and what do you think is essential for organizations to bring in ready-made
Right.
instead?
Right. Definitely, I think in terms of when it comes to like technology, right? Regardless of whether it is a AI or software development, definitely, I mean, all those like a boot camp kind of a things like 6 week, kind of like a boot camp,
Mm,
doesn't really work in terms of the long term, at least in my opinion. So definitely, like training wise, either training to the existing team or hiring to the new team is a key factor. One,
Mm.
we hire this kind of like a talent, and then what kind of skills or capability that I will look from those particular is first is definitely in terms of the experience wise, um, like for me, more and more, right? What I'm seeing is in terms of like a software development, AI development, people who have a right mindset to solve the problem would be the one that I would consider hiring, because I think in terms of tools usage, in terms of knowledge, in terms of experience that you have been working on, only those people who know how to solve the problem will be able to come up with the right solution from the beginning as well. Because everything
Mm.
is more on the iterative process in terms of developing things and stuff, right? So some of those things can be really earned through your long journey of building things. Like it cannot be just taught right away. Definitely, you can teach how to code, but in terms of like when it comes to a problem, how you are solving the problem is really matter most to me.
Mm.
So that's a reason that like I mean like one to hire is a very easy thing for me. One, you plan to go for production, definitely
Mm.
that's one you needed to hire. If not, right, I mean, if you don't have a right talent, like what I mentioned from the beginning, whatever you try to build would be kind of like a half-baked solution. At some point, they would break. If that is broken, right, uh, how efficiently you can like fix what has been broken. I think that's where
Mm.
the experience or specialist people are the one that able to solve this kind of problem. So in terms of the AI skills, if we are talking about the particular skills, it depending on uh, what organization trying to achieve as well, whether they are trying
Yeah.
to achieve to build their own model for their very specific use case from their own data sets, then in that case you will need people from the different skill sets, like from the data point, like whether you have data engineers, data scientists, because like the data rules are quite simple. Garbage in, garbage out, right? So how clean your data is, how ready your data is. From there,
Mm.
you will need other people like data scientists, AI engineers, coming from the standpoint like, yes, now we have this amount of data. In terms of this amount of data, how are we going to train the model to get the result that we want? How are we going to build it? I think these are the
Mm.
all of the specialist pathway that only specialist people who have done enough and then really have a deep understanding of how the model works will
Mm.
be able to solve it. So then you will need a specialist for such cases. But but I mean like not every organization or company have a luxury to get this kind of specialist
Mm. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the start, unless you have a really good investment behind, right? In that case, I mean, it's simple enough. Right now, in terms of all those frontier models out there, at least from the general perspective, like this may not be desired model that you might expect to receive it from the first place, but with a very simple, I wouldn't use simple, with a very clear instructions of like a prompt engineering work. Some of the
Mm.
things can be achievable with a domain knowledge, but you need to
Mm.
have your own domain knowledge depending on what kind of use cases that you want to apply. So, for example, like in our cases, healthcare, for example,
Mm.
healthcare
Yeah.
is a very domain driven kind of like a sector itself, right? So
Mm.
the model out there, which are available from general public models like either ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, whether do they have enough of knowledge for this kind of like a public model. Definitely they
Mm.
have like certain kind of like knowledge in their own extent based on the training that they have been given from the model creator itself, right? So
Yeah.
I mean like if we don't have enough expertise, what we can do is combination of our domain experts from like clinician, practitioner, and so on, we can wrap around some of the prompt engineering to get the result that what we want with a
Mm.
human intervention. But definitely, if you really want to solve it, a complex problem and so on and such, right? You need a specialist, and then that's what the specialist hiring kicks in. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I think you touched on a few different kind of skill set, touching starting with the mentality, the problem solving
Yeah.
skills, and also it links back to what the organization actually needs, right? Yeah,
Yep.
I think my LinkedIn followers were asking me that the hottest question was what is the most valuable skill set, and I think you answered it very beautifully. I was going to go into the healthcare industry as well. I think you've also touched on it.
Yep.
What is the take in this industry itself? I think healthcare is a very unique industry, right? Is there
Yep.
anything that you see?
Yeah. Definitely. I think in terms of the unique use cases, right? More or less, I mean, like if you look at the use cases, everyone is looking in terms of a few different things from the a few different pillars. Some people looking in terms of their operational excellence. Some people looking in terms of improving like certain kind of like a measurement in terms of either from their success that they're looking for, or sometimes it could be improving the productivity, improving the day-to-day operation kind of a thing. So um, like very similar to other sectors, right? I think the healthcare sectors also looking for the same concept and use cases. So most of the things that I've been seeing in terms of the use cases wise, people looking in terms of like a AI scribe capabilities in terms of improving the patient experience, so that like from the doctor standpoint, like there will be an improvement on their operational like efficiency and so on. There are other use cases people are looking from the data standpoint of in terms of like getting the right data based on the doing some of the analysis on the fly. So for example, things like based on the conversation between patient and doctors, AI can like coming up with some of the analysis based on the user, like user as in the patient medical records and so on. Like AI can doing some analysis on the trend line of their health journey from the start to the end, and then some of the things like also from the operational perspective, now people are looking in terms of some of the automation stuff where they deploy agents to do scheduling, rostering, allocation of like medications, dispensing, and so on. Right? I think different healthcare organization uses different kind of like use cases that they are urgently needed to resolve.
Right.
I think in terms of like very particular things, what I would say is the urgency would really drive in terms of the
Mm,
adoption within the
mm,
organization, and then what are the things that they wanted to urgently solve. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that they will be heavily invest in AI solutions.
Mm. Yeah, I think healthcare is very, very interesting space, right? Like, let's see how it turns out. Yeah, maybe just finally, right, to close out the conversation, what advice would you give to leaders who want to invest in AI but don't fully understand it yet? Any final thoughts for them?
I think the first is for leaders, right? Either founders, either either from the leaders that they want to adopt the capability of AI is what I would say is that at least from the understanding of it, like I would say general understanding of it, it has to be in a very clear manner that what they're trying to achieve, and then what they wanted to achieve, and then like they also need to have to set their own expectation in terms of like what is the success criteria meant for them, because like with a clear kind of like a goal that they wanted to achieve with the help of AI, with the assistance on the on the AI itself, a combination of software development, application development. Most of the things are achievable at the current stage, but definitely they need to navigate around ambiguity of these things, because like what I mentioned previously, right? Um, um, those people who executing the AI really makes a difference. So if you have a good, solid team which could execute well based on what you have trying to achieve, definitely you will get a good results. But for those people who may be inexperienced, trying to navigate around, experimenting, like this could be the level that they get it from their output level as well. So it depends on like what kind of adoption that they want to achieve, and then like what kind of business like value that they're trying to drive through the organization as well. So,
Mm,
but what I like, if I have to give a suggestion on it, right? I mean, like, don't be afraid of like finding the results that like they are not expecting, because definitely at some points we will like face the world that which we didn't really like prepare from the first
mm,
place, right? Like if we find challenges, if we find blockers, I mean, like the only way is to try to find how we can solve it around, and then what I think that we're missing, and then definitely there's always a iterated process there which we can try to achieve. And so definitely, and then another thing is that sometimes even like not only at the individual levels, right? Even from the organization level, sometimes we might also get a competitive like landscape pressures, right? Like some people or some organizations started feeling like, oh, my competitor already integrated AI in such kind, and then we are far behind. Like, what do we need to do? And then they're trying to find use cases
to
to
keep up
implement
and
and some things,
mm,
right? I think, yeah, at some point, I mean, like this will drive your eagerness towards to the adoption, but in reality, whether this adoption in the long run makes sense for your organization, or really lift or like elevate your organization to the next level. I think this is something that the leadership team really need to strategize through what is their unique value proposition is, and then whether they want to just ride the trend of AI, or whether they really want to make the difference of it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think in essence, I think that the most crucial thing is for them to really understand where they are, what are they trying to achieve, what is the gap that they need to fill, whether AI is a solution or something else is a solution, and then building making sure you have the right talent, whether you build it from scratch or you hire, right, whatever it means.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that kind of is the structure, right, of what you're saying as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that I think thank you so much that for your sharing your it's been very thoughtful, and it's a very grounded discussion on reality, right? Your insights I think will really help people or leaders in the non-tech industries especially, and highlighting that building AI capability isn't just about chasing the hype. It's about making deliberate, informed decisions from day one. For
Yep.
our listeners, if you found today's conversations useful, don't forget to like the post on whichever platform you're watching or listening from, and share it with someone who's thinking about building their first AI or data team. We'll continue these conversations with leaders who are shaping how technology evolves in the real world, and we look forward to having you with us for the next one. Thank you.